be okay if I'm on a speaker over here?
Yeah, you're perfect. You're perfect.
Cool, great. Awesome.
So just want to get started, jump right into it, to be mindful of your time.
That
NOLA by NOLA, or as like a lot of my friends like to call it, NOLA times NOLA.
That's a new one.
That's a new one. But it's coming back for the first time. It's hitting New Orleans. It's had a lot of success, of course. And I kind of just want to know, like, for the people who don't, or they're not privy to it, what exactly is NOLA by NOLA? And tell me a little bit about its origin story. Like, how did it start? How did it come about?
Yeah, and it's a fair question, and I think the origin story is very important to what it is, and it's also evolving, which is really exciting because we're making some really positive year-over-year changes as we figure out in real time what we're doing. But it started, coming out of the pandemic, 5 years ago. I don't know if you remember it, but the fateful day in August when on a Sunday afternoon, Jazz Fest canceled their fall edition because of the circumstances. And shortly thereafter, Voodoo canceled, Buko canceled, French Quarter Festival, Fried Chicken Festival, they all canceled.
Yeah.
And on that Tuesday, there was an article in the paper about the impact on the food industry and especially on the music business and the venues that were so much looking forward to like real shows after doing the sit-down shows and the drive-ins, which nobody could make money on, but it was an opportunity to, do what we do. And so those things made people feel normal, but this was the opportunity to be really normal and do shows. And my thought was, if we could bring everybody together and market this as one thing and say to all the people, don't cancel your plane ticket, don't cancel your dinner reservations, don't cancel your hotels, don't cancel, your tours. Like, we are open in New Orleans. We have music and we have food and we have precautions, right? And so I was actually boarding a plane at 6 a.m. to go work on a festival in Chicago that Tuesday morning. And as boarding the plane, I'm texting people I know that own venues or who are musicians or work in venues, asking what they're doing with their late night shows. And, the resounding answer was, don't know, would like to keep them, just have to see who's in town and what it means. And I let everybody know I had an idea, a way that maybe we could address it. And somehow that conversation got to the ears of Craig Olympus from Preservation Hall. And he called me and said, I hear you have an idea. We have a meeting with some of the venues tomorrow. Could you do that? And so I got on the meeting and it was great. I pitched the idea and I had the name, the idea NOLA by NOLA is really about New Orleanians helping New Orleanians, right?
Yeah.
We do that better than anybody. And in order for this thing to work, not only would we have to get the people who were supposed to fly in, but we really need to get locals to go support live music, maybe definitely more than they had been, but there had been a lot of supportive music through porch concerts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But we really need to get people into the venues.
Right.
And, literally over the next 3 days, had numerous conversations with the venues. The team over at New Orleans and Company jumped on a call and they were very, very excited about the potential. And then within 48 hours, they were 100% in and putting marketing effort and the power of what they do behind us. And we launched it. And, we had 30 venues. And in that first year, one of the things I asked before we went to announce it, the idea was we would tease it. Like, we would put the X of NOLA by NOLA, NOLA times NOLA on social media. And we'd say some statement like the music must play on or something. And we want all the venues to do it. This was a really telling moment. We had 30 people in our Zoom. And I said, hey, when we do this, what will make it really special is if on your Instagram account, if you tagged other music venues to show that this was a unified, movement. And it was great. You had Preservation Hall tagging Santos and Holy Diver and, Snug Harbor doing similar, and everybody like cross-pollinating and Blue Nile hitting all the bars on Frenchman Street. And it really, when I asked that question, I asked, does anybody have a problem doing that? And literally everybody was like, let's do it. Hands were up, thoughts, I'm in.
Yeah.
And that coalition has mattered, and we've continued to build that. We felt like we touched the nerves with this in that first year, and the next year, it wasn't all fixed yet, so
Yeah.
we kept on going. And as the summers have become a little bit longer and the economy a little bit tougher, and I think we've been resilient in the idea of like, hey, how do we define this more? So when people see this, it means this, and that's what we've been doing. And so we've added, industry happy hours to make it so we call them meet and greets, where people that are working in the industry are basically at a bar and available for people who want to engage with them. And it's very casual and very, very easy and approachable.
Yeah.
Last year we started a music industry conference, a 2-day conference with the people over at Relics Media, Relics Magazine.
Okay.
And this year it's going to be on Thursday and Friday, the 2nd and 3rd of October at the New Orleans Jazz Museum. And it is free for anybody to attend. And we have a great panelist for that. And so what this really is goes back to the idea of New Orleans helping New Orleans. We think we have, on any day of the week, you can fly into New Orleans, and if you're a little adventurous, you could go find 3 different genres of music and bop around town, eat the best food in the world, and have meet characters and do the whole thing. What we want NOLA by NOLA be is, the bookend of Jazz Fest. We want to put, all of our musicians are home from summer touring, and everybody's ready for summer to be done and move on to the fall.
Yeah.
And it's just great weather. And we want to help facilitate the music industry business and help our venues. Still to this day, venues are where this is the entry point to this, to put it all on display as the best that it can be. And that's what we're trying to do. And we think as other cities are not in the position to do what we do, or maybe New Orleans is an aspirational city that people want to come to.
Yeah.
And we want to give them an incredible reason to come to New Orleans in the fall time.
I really want to get into what you guys have to offer, because it's not just this year's events. It's not just about the music. Essentially, it's more so about just, like you mentioned earlier, gathering, getting people together. What are some of the new things that you guys are doing with NOLA by NOLA this year that didn't happen in past events?
Well, one thing that we're doing is an evolution. The last 2 years, we've been doing a thing called NOLA by No Cover as a 1-day event on Frenchman Street. And it's been amazing. We opened up Frenchman Street. We worked with a dozen venues and restaurants on Frenchman Street. And we basically open Frenchman Street at noon.
Yeah.
And we have music programming from noon to 10 o'clock that's free. And last year we had Big Frida at DBA with Dark Matter. It was incredible. And Pete Morano from Jory's band hosted an incredible all-star event with members of the Rumble and Kristen Diabo and Kermit and Big Sam, and awesome, right? And you could we did Nicole a dance at Fabriel Chic. The thing that we're doing with it this year is, being out there last year, I felt like the NOLA by No Cover piece is such a special thing with great potential. And it could be this thing that is even more important to bringing people together. And I'm very focused on bringing people to neighborhoods. So that it's not just one street or one place.
Yeah.
But how do we get people, how do we celebrate a neighborhood and almost make it so we have a lot of street parties happening, pop-up events in the city. So
definitely.
What we went down with NOLA by No Cover is we told all the venues, we gave us this kind of like, here's what we'd like to do, and this is why we think this can work, is if any show that's titled, that is free, and if, in the funding that we help give to support them, if they would use it to hire bands and do a free show, they'll fall under the label of NOLA by No Cover. So now, instead of 1 day of NOLA by No Cover, we have 11 days of NOLA by No Cover. And with that, this year, we have 90 shows that are free during NOLA by NOLA this year, over the 11-day period, which includes our conference, NOLA by NOLA Talks, that I was talking about a minute ago. And that's free both days. And our kickoff event with the comedy roast of Jelly Joseph, Tip at Venus on Thursday night. So we're really excited about this, and we are seeing that it's there's a there to that, right? Like we're doing 90 free shows. Now some of them are DJs at the Saint or whatever it might be, but like those are shows, those are experiences. There's a neighborhood attached to that, you know? And the more we can do of that and bring people in and incentivize people to go see live music, and maybe, just maybe, they'll extend the night, that's feeling really good right now.
Yeah. You mentioned it briefly earlier, talking about how it was about getting people together and bringing it to the neighborhoods, but it's also been like an economic driver. But can you talk a little bit about what NOLA by NOLA actually does for the city of New Orleans, considering that, like you mentioned, there's a lot of street parties here, there's a lot of pop-up events going on. What does NOLA by NOLA do differently to cater to the culture of New Orleans?
Yeah, so we work very closely with the New Orleans Tourism and Cultural Foundation, and they give us one grant that we divvy up to all the venues. And the way that we can do it, and why I think our role in this is so important, is, you know, we have the relationship with the musicians, we have the relationships with the venues, and our goal is to have live music, you know, we say every genre, every neighborhood, every night. That's one of our go-to slogans. And, you know, we can't, you know, we're trying to hit every neighborhood, and we're trying to make sure that there is a beacon of NOLA by NOLA all over the city. And this year we've added a couple of, they're both NOLA by NOLA cover shows. They're untraditional, you know, not necessarily untraditional music venues, but important spots. We have the Morning 40 Federation doing a free show at Snake and Jake's, and we have Clown System doing a free show with Corey Henry stepping in with them at Vaughn's. And, you know, these are going really directly into neighborhoods, corner side bars that support live music and are beloved by fans of live music. And we work on this all year round. There's only a couple of us, and we work on it all year round, supporting live music. In our Instagram story every day, we update who's playing tonight. We take down everything that was from yesterday, and we have an Instagram story that is showing off what's happening in every venue, you know, not every venue, a lot of venues every night. And we are a year-round supporter of music, of cultural artists. We, you know, feature burlesque, we feature comedians, we feature poetry reading. When a venue like OK Bar is doing their summer movie series with cheesy, funny classics from the 80s, we promote that. And I think we've become a outlet for a unified voice for venues and musicians. And when they call us and ask for support, we're there. During NOLA by NOLA, we are putting, you know, money to help an event that's happening at the Music Box Village. We're helping with Black Americana Festival. It's a 360-degree support system in any way that we can do it, because we live here and we're passionate about it.
Man, that was, I love what you guys do at NOLA, especially considering that I've had like a lot of friends who are kind of new to the area, and they kind of didn't know like what was going on. And social media helped definitely with you guys putting different artists on there and just putting a little bit of New Orleans for people who may not understand, or who, you know, don't know all about the culture or the music that goes on here. But man, my last question is, we talked about the contributions to the city, the money that it brings in, the businesses that it helps, the fact that it helps people who love music, who just want to celebrate New Orleans culture. But I'm curious to know, what does NOLA by NOLA mean to you as the founder?
That's a great question. And you know, some people might, you know, I have a long-standing history in the music industry. I came to New Orleans as an outsider in 1999, but with a lot of passion for New Orleans. I learned about New Orleans music working at a radio station in the late 90s in Annapolis, Maryland. I've always been passionate about music. came here for Jazz Fest, actually, to come to Jazz Fest as a guest. It just so happens like a month before I was coming, I was offered the job to become the music director and do afternoons on the alternative radio station that was here at that time called 106.7 The End.
Yeah.
I fell in love with the culture here, ended up being the morning show, the program director, and of course, Hurricane Katrina, I think, was a decisive moment for a lot of us. And I had an offer to go work for Sirius Satellite Radio in Washington, D.C. And for me and for my wife and our very young family at the time, we were betting on New Orleans and we wanted to be here. Our joke was we wanted to be here when the Saints won the Super Bowl, which we did shortly thereafter, which was really incredible.
No, right.
But I am very passionate about this city, and I have been fortunate to have made some great relationships and important friendships, and both in the industry and outside of it. And for, again, to not sound silly to this point, I really do think this is a bit of a calling for me to support this part of the New Orleans culture.
Yeah.
And it's beyond a passion project. It's just something I love to do. I love the people I work with. And I do feel like we have an opportunity to make a difference. Going back to when I pitched this to the venues, I think it was Mike Martinovich, also at Preservation Hall, who said, "Oh, this is a great idea. Who's going to run it?"
Yeah.
I was like, I guess I am. I hadn't gotten that far in this. I had an idea and I wanted to share it. And I'm glad I did. And I love doing this day in, day out. And if this is what I can contribute to the present and the future and honoring the past of New Orleans, then this is what I want to do.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks, man. No, you're a busy man. You got a lot of stuff going on, so I'll let you get back to your schedule. But thank you so much for the interview. Definitely, I'm sure to show my editors will keep you posted about the article, let you know when it comes out and different things like that. But thanks for taking the time to speak to me, man.
Yeah, Freddy, thank you. And listen, you have my number. Text me anytime if you have a question or anything.
Yeah.
Or if you want to go, if you're going to go to a NOLA by NOLA show, or if you want to go to a NOLA by NOLA show, let me know where you're going to be. I'd love to be in person, say hello, and if I can, personally take you around to a couple of clubs and get to know you better too.
No problem. Awesome. All right. Thank you so much. You have a good one.
Thank you too.